Welcome to the neighborhood, Hapi Hood The Podcast, where we deliver meaningful content to grow your faith, well-being, and leadership skills. Hey neighbor, I'm your favorite neighbor, Jay Murray, lifestyle coach, inspiring others to develop self-worth through leadership applications that will enable them to live in purpose. Hapi Hood The Podcast.
Finish
Message.
what you started.
Welcome back, neighbors, and welcome to all the new neighbors for another edition of Hapi Hood The Podcast. I'm your favorite neighbor, Jay Murray, and I'm super excited that you decided to join us for another edition of Hapi Hood The Podcast, where we get to just have a moment to connect, cultivate our ideas, and build a life of purpose. Build a life of purpose. And family, we at the end. Last episode of the year of 2023, and I'm super excited because this is where we do the infamous 7 steps to finish what you start. This is where I take a moment to reflect, and these thoughts that I was able to reflect on are simply just put into this somewhat of, if I had a series, or a mindset that can help us to simply finish what we start, to go after what I believe our God calling in an unstoppable manner, a way to refuel us, a way for us to develop this staying power to sustain us on this journey, right? These 7 steps to finish what stars are just, it's our sustainability plan, excuse me. It is our sustainability plan. It's a sustainability method, practice that helps us to keep up the good fight. Keep up the good fight, to stay committed. So finish what you start. 2023, 7 steps to finish what you start. 2023, review, reflection. And let me just breathe this in. Let me just take a moment and just inhale humility, peace, love, happiness. Exhale entitlement, self-doubt, frustration, envy. Let me just be present. If I can just be present with y'all in this moment, because I don't take this lightly. I'm humbled for the opportunity that God has given me to provide these thoughts, to provide meaningful content that will help you live a life of fulfillment, that will help you to unlock your potential, that will help you to embrace your worth, and as I said, live a life of fulfillment. So I don't take it lightly. And we're at the end, it's time to take a moment just to be still, and just take this in, to think on what went well, what didn't go so well throughout the year, what was the highs, what was the lows, what was those lessons learned, what was those, some of even failures, disappointments that we had, and being grateful for all of it. Inhale humility, exhale entitlement, being grateful for all of it. So 7 steps finish what you start. Each year I provide these thoughts, these steps to help us, to help me, to help you. And they're centered around just, my personal experience, as well as conversations, interactions with guests, and things I just, experienced throughout the year. And they're not in sequential order or anything. So it's not like I gotta do step 1, step 2, but they're just in a format that, that is pretty much, if I had to kind of put a theme around it, and this particular theme for this year is it's like stay in power, staying committed, stay in power. You know, that would be the theme. If I had like how to develop, how to manage, how to sustain your staying power. That would be just a title. If I had to come up with one, right? But maybe step 5 resonates with you the most. Maybe step 3 resonate with you the most. My only ask is that you will take a moment throughout this time of year to reflect. So even think about your own 7 steps to finish what you start. You know, what certain things that you now can you want to put in your playbook, right? That you want to make sure that you want to come back to it, right? That these things were lessons and they are uh, stories that you could pass on, or that you can continue to use to not only to help yourself, but pass on to others to help others. So think about it. Take a moment to be still and reflect. So let's get started. Let's get going. 7 steps to finish what you start, 2023 reflection. As I said, if I had to kind of put a title on this, a theme, it's around commitment. It's around sustainability. It's around how to develop stay in power. Stay in power. Stay in power. How to keep it, how to keep it going, how to be committed. How to be committed. That's probably we'll call it that, how to be committed. So my word for the year, that probably no surprise because I have said it several times, was committed, commitment. And as I go through a journey, or as I go throughout the year and having a word for the year, and again, family, I can't stress it enough. Practicing the one word of the year is life changing because it just provides so much perspective. It helps to deepen your mental, your spiritual, your emotional well-being, because it roots you into this concept to where you get a deeper understanding that is below surface, right? And it just helps you to really bear more fruit, that's going to continue to sustain you, that's going to help you to have a deeper impact. It's going to also help you to feed others with. Yes, it's going to help you to not only feed yourself, but feed others. So practice. If you haven't never done it before, I'm gonna have a link in the show notes where you can read resources around it. And you can pick a word, a phrase. So our word for our family was committed. And as I started on this journey, and really coming to the first step of this year, 7 steps to finish what you start, is that early in the year, now that I had a moment to reflect, there were signs of burnout that I just simply avoided. That I simply just kept going in my own strength. It's like, hey, we did a vision board, which I do that every year in January, February, March, boom, off to the races. Let's go, let's go, let's go. Let's do this, do this, let's do it. Okay, let's get this going, let's get this going. And I never took a moment to really think about what am I going to be committed to? Because the reality, family, that I learned is that I cannot be committed to everything. So the first step of this year's 7 steps to finish what you start 2023 review is know your commitment capacity. Now, what do you mean by that? There's a quote from Denzel Washington that says, without commitment, you will never start, but more importantly, without consistency, you will never finish. Let me say that again. Message: without commitment, you will never start. But more importantly, without consistency, you will never finish. And family, the way that I digested that is, if commitment is the starting line to consistency, then I have to understand, where is my starting line? Because my starting line can't be here, there, over here, over there, by over here, this way, that way. Because the reality is that in order for me to be consistent, I have to understand, what am I going to be committed to? Because the reality is that if I got 10 or 12 different things that is my commitment, how on earth can I be consistent in all of those different things? I have to know my commitment capacity. And when I thought about even more, it was, well, you know what? Yeah, it's no wonder why I'm feeling burnout, as I was going through some burnout at the end of the year, because I have overcommitted myself. And fam, we all have been there. Maybe we're on several different boards. We doing this. We don't know how to say no. We haven't set boundaries. We haven't done these things, all these different things. And yeah, we're mom, we're dad, we're raising kids, we have a job, we have an entrepreneur endeavors. We have all these different things. We wear all these different hats. And there's certain hats that simply, nah, that's not in my commitment capacity. But yet I was committed to it anyway. And that was really the first step that I started to really learn, that we cannot, I cannot, and I believe you can. And maybe you superwoman or superman. You can't be committed to everything. That's just, I think, that's the reality. You can't be committed to everything. You have to understand, what is your commitment capacity. You have to understand it, because without that, you run the risk of burnout. You run the risk of overcommitting yourself. And you run the risk of simply just being ineffective. Ineffective. And I was putting on so much. I added burden. I added more stress to myself, because I wanted to be committed to everything. And that also includes my own business. That there's certain priorities, or those it was certain objectives that I had out the year, that I seem to had to kind of come to a point where, you know what, yeah, that's not now. But sometimes I'm that person where I just want to do this. Let's do this. Oh, this come up, this. And as I said before, sometimes opportunities will be disguised as distractions. Excuse me, let me rephrase it. Distractions will be disguised as opportunities. Some distractions will be disguised as opportunities. And without having a level of discernment, this is where discernment comes in. We run the risk of overcommitting ourselves. Know your commitment capacity. Step one. Step two, stay committed to the process. Okay, you know your commitment capacity. Stay committed to the process. Now, in my line of work, I do a lot of continuous improvement endeavors, projects. And one thing that we follow a very detailed format in the way that we uh, run our projects. And what we try to convey to our clients that we're consulting, that, hey, there's a particular format that you have to follow, because it's designed in this format to yield these types of results. And having a conversation with some of my friends at work, my peers, and we just kind of just talking, and that's a good thing of finding community, in which I'll get on this later on, that you can talk to about just different things. And we started talking about hacks. and how, we live in a culture of, and you can go on TikTok. I mean, you can just type in life hack, business hack, relationship hack. I don't know. It's so many hacks. And you know, while I understand where it's not, it's almost where we have to work smarter, but not harder, right? But it's when we are skipping necessary, required steps in order to yield a particular results. When we do that, we become ineffective. The we miss out on necessary lessons that's going to prepare and equip us to the next thing, the next level, however you want to say it that way. And we arrive at the next destination unprepared. We arrive at the next destination unprepared because we were not committed to the process. Or if you want to use it as a weight, like your personal growth, we find ourselves right back at the beginning where we started because we didn't follow the necessary process. We skipped steps, and now we find ourselves right back to the beginning as if we never done anything, you know, as if we never. And that's sometimes my journey when it comes to, maintaining a good weight. Is that during a year, like especially during this time, ah, I guess I get back to it, or whatever, not realizing that I'm skipping steps, you know, and I'm avoiding things, thinking that I can just continue to arrive at my next destination, my next birthday, and thinking that I can just continue to do that, to where I have to be committed to the process throughout the year. And I know that's hard. As I even think about it, that's hard. But that's what I'm talking about when it comes to staying committed. This right here is the staying power. How do we develop that staying power and understand the the ability, or not the ability, but how do we understand and come to a realization that in order for us to go to the next level, in order for us to be equipped to sustain, right, our our spirits, our well-being, is going to require us to stay committed to a process. So we come to the third step of 7 steps to finish what you start. And again, from the theme of commitment, you know, one thing that I had to learn this year, and this was around just my entrepreneur journey, was measuring, measuring what matters, and really taking a more deep dive into analytics. An area where that I feel I'm not that strong in, but an area that I see as an entrepreneur is necessary for me to set benchmarks. It's necessary for me to understand where my starting line is at, right? Where's my starting line? What's the baseline? So the third step of 7 steps to finish, which you start 2023, is set measurements. And this is again just set benchmarks. Understand what's my baseline, because if you do not have measurements, you can't manage. You can only manage what you can measure. You can only manage what you can measure. Now, what that may look like in practical steps, meaning that what for me, I had a certain amount of podcasts that I wanted to do on a weekly basis. Did I did I reach that goal, or did I not? Right. And it helped me to understand and manage my time that, hey, I'm only working on this amount of podcasts this week. I also measure, okay, my analytics around YouTube, around the website, and getting a deeper understanding. Okay, how can I improve that through what I know now? What certain things I need to do, either outsource it, or find someone that has that expertise that will help me to improve it. So I had to get an understanding. What's my baseline? What's my baseline when it comes to the number of hits? What's my baseline when it comes to YouTube? So set measurements is simply is managing managing your commitment. That's just simply what set measurements are. Like setting measurements is managing your commitment, understanding what is your baseline, and setting benchmark. Okay, here's my benchmark. Here's my target condition. Here's my current condition. Here's my target condition that I want to have. That's your benchmark. Now you understand, okay, that's my target condition I want to have. Now I need to understand how I'm going to get there. What certain things that I need to do to get there on a weekly, daily basis. Set measurements. Okay. So the fourth thing, let's do a quick recap. So number one, know your commitment capacity. Number two, stay committed to the process. Number three, set measurements. And number four of 7 steps to finish what you start 2023 review is step out of your comfort zone. Now I'm gonna park the car right here because this year, as I said, it was challenging. You know, I didn't realize that I was dealing with burnout, and it was rooted in me learning how to manage stress. And it got to really a tipping point when I was on vacation and not feeling relaxed and being stressed on vacation. That, after having a conversation with my wife, it was like, you may want to go back to therapy. And so going back to therapy, it was so rewarding because it gave me what I needed, to have a coach, a therapist that will help me to discover ways and use practical steps to help me manage stress. And one thing that I realized, or I discovered, is I can be very controlling. I can be very controlling. And this came from, moments of reflecting and having a conversation with my therapist around, and I forgot what we was talking about, but I said something to the point that through my awareness, and this is why I was starting to become aware of me being controlling, is that I thought at one time I like to be challenged. I like a challenge. And part of me do like to be challenged, but it's through my own constraints where I can control the strengths, you know. It's through my own, it has to be conditioned, is conditioned upon my my own constraints. And that really like was like, oh wow, maybe I am controlling. And it got even deeper, just like meditating and praying to God, that there was moments where in order for me to grow in particular areas, I had to give up my controlling nature and step out of my comfort zone in order to experience that growth. I had to step out my comfort zone in order for me to experience the growth. And it helped me to really go with the flow, right? And I know sometimes it can sound very cliche, but the way that I thought about it was stop trying to swim against the current. Stop trying to swim against the current, but learn how to swim with the current. Learn how to flow and surrender. You know, um, I was talking to a good buddy of mine, and again, we both was just kind of talking, yeah, I definitely see what you mean. because it's a balance that you have to, that I had to find, to where I had to understand how to be self-reliant, and again, like, be, have that ambition, right? And there's nothing wrong with having ambition, nothing wrong with chasing your dreams, nothing wrong with that. But it's moments are understanding how to balance that tension, understanding how to shift down and now surrender. And the surrendering piece for me was stepping out of my comfort zone, because as I learned, I wasn't comfortable when I wasn't in control. I was not comfortable when I was not in control. I was very uncomfortable. And in order for me to experience growth, I had to step out my comfort zone. Step out your comfort zone. Step 4, 7 steps to finish what you start. Let's go to the next step. Step number 5 of 7 steps to finish what you start. And this is kind of, now we're in that period where, the first couple ones was, I guess, tactical in nature, but now we're getting to, more maybe philosophical, or a little bit of, you know, uh, internal, self leadership type of skills. Um, Next one, and again, I just did a Monday morning leadership on this. You can definitely go listen to that. Most recent one, learning how to pause and reflect. It was through step 4 that I learned how to pause and reflect. It was through step 4 of flowing that I had to understand that, you know what, the moments where I feel like I'm trying to swim upstream and I'm swimming against the current, it's in those moments to help me to pivot and be redirected to now go with the flow. I need to learn how to pause. And those feelings of, and again, for me, it was moments of, I feel like I'm exerting my strength. I'm getting tired. Lack of motivation. I'm feeling burned out. I'm feeling like just my emotional, spiritual well-being is kind of off track. Those were some of the signs for me that, okay, let me take a moment. Let me pause. It's a good moment to pause. Pausing for me sometimes was taking a day off. It was going on a walk, or it was doing something that kind of helped me take my mind off whatever I was dealing. In those moments of pause, I started to reflect. When I was able to reflect, I was able to now recalibrate. I was able to recalibrate to help me refocus. It was like, let me reboot, like a computer. Let me reboot myself. Let me, system updates, let me reboot. Let me, kind of recharge myself. And that helped me to become re-energized, to where now I was able to find the strength to now flow, to now flow. So learn how to pause and reflect, because throughout this journey, it's going to be times, yeah, we're going to be uncomfortable. It's going to be times where it's a great practice of reflecting, to not just do it. And I'm telling myself, this family, even as I told you early on, not just during the moments of like the year end, but have it as a daily practice, because it just helps to strengthen your self-awareness. Really helps you strengthen your self-awareness, to where you can become more aware of those moments of, hmm, feeling a little burnt out. I'm kind of stressed. Like, wow, these thoughts I'm having. Okay, let me pause and reflect. Let's do a quick recap. Number 1 of 7 steps of finish, which is start, know your commitment capacity. Number 2, stay committed to the process. Step 3, set measurements. Step 4, step out of your comfort zone. And step 5, learn how to pause and reflect. All right, step 6, and I spoke about this in the stay committed to the process. Create a support system. I had to kind of, how can I put this? I was talking to my cousin Danielle, which again you can go back, listen to How's Your Soul, learning how to let go. What's going on, Danielle? And she had said something about surviving. And I was like, I don't want to survive. I just want to thrive, you know. And it was like, yeah, but that's not reality. That's not reality, because there's moments where you simply, you know what, I'm surviving today. I'm surviving. And I'm hoping to thrive, right? But how do you survive? And how do you take that thriving is what had me think about creating a support system. Creating a support system. And this can be, you can think of this as your community, you know. And when you think about just hierarchy of needs, Maslow hierarchy of needs, I think I want to say like the third level is that community. Is that having that sense of belonging. And creating a support system can be a community. For me, it was understanding that, okay, in my support system, I need my community, my family, right? I need my close friends. I need also my therapist, you know. I need to have a health coach that can help me provide practical steps to help me along maintaining my well-being. I need to understand how I'm eating. I need to understand my spirituality, my support system of my walk with God, you know, my support system of again my wife, my best friend. All these things is part of my ecosystem that helps me to survive, but more important, also helps me to go from surviving to thriving, to surviving to thriving. So when you think about, again, we talking about being committed, and we talking about how to sustain our commitment. Well, that sustainability is in creating a support system. Everyone needs support, and everyone needs a system. All these different uh how can I put this? All these different things that interconnect with each other, right? That plays a specific part in the system, but they're all interconnected. That's what I'm talking about. Creating a support system that all those things connected, right? That what helps me to survive is understanding, being grounded in my spirituality. What helps me survive is my family, my wife. What helps me survive is my community, Happy Nation. What's going on? What helps me survive is my therapist. You know, what helps me survive is my kids. What helps me survive is God. You know, that's my support system. And the benefits of this family is you will understand, not understand, but it will help you to establish boundaries. One thing that I'm learning is that boundaries in one season can look totally different in another season, because the reality is that they no longer apply. Things have evolved, external things have changed and now have manifest into different things. Internally, you have evolved and have manifest. Those boundaries are pretty much obsolete. They're no longer apply. And at times we don't realize that, we good intentions that I have my boundaries. Yeah, there's certain things. Yeah, I stop here. But when things change, our boundaries need to be readjusted. And having a support system helps you to maintain and sustain those boundaries. Having people that like, you know what, I'm gonna hold you accountable. Having accountability partners within your support system. Like, nah, what you doing? What you doing? Nah, you ain't doing that. That you can talk to. Safe spaces and places within your support system that's going to enable your boundaries. It's going to enable your boundaries. This is your community. And in fact, I can just take a pause. This is what Happy Hood is all about. I want you to know that Happy Hood wants to be a safe place and safe space for you to unlock your potential, to embrace your worth, and to live a life of fulfillment, to create a lifestyle, a purpose-driven lifestyle. This is what Happy Hood is all about. We want to be part of your support system, providing meaningful content through Happy Hood the Podcast and all the different Happy Hood podcast series that's going to help you live purposefully, to be in purpose, to be on purpose, to live in purpose. That's what it's all about. That's what we want. We want to be part of that support system, But again, just looking at it, zooming back out, creating a support system is going to help you to survive. But as I said before, it's going to also help you to thrive. To thrive. That is step number 6. Quick recap. Step number 1, 7 steps to finish what you start. 2023 review. Like a tongue twister there. Know your commitment capacity. Stay committed to the process. Set measurements. Step out of your comfort zone. Learn how to pause and reflect. Create a support system. And lastly, embrace the valley moments. Embrace the valley moments. Now, family, the reality is this. We will all go through things. We will all go through challenges. As I said before, stepping out of your comfort of my comfort zone was a challenge. It was a valley moment because I was very uncomfortable. But I had to learn how to embrace those valley moments. I had to learn how to be between two mountains. Having that mountaintop experience at one period for one moment, and then coming down to the valley, and sometimes being very discouraged because I'm still going through this valley trying to get back to having that mountaintop experience. And I had to come to a famous verse that we all, even if you ain't been to church, you heard about Psalms 23. And within that passage is a verse of, yea, I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will feel no evil. For your rod and your staff comfort me. And as I thought about the part of the walk, is that going back again, and these steps, maybe you can now see how these 7 steps are all connected, right? In some way. But going back to staying committed to that process, stay committed to the process, is that I can't avoid it. I can't just keep kicking the can down the street, the proverbial can down. I can't stop. I can't just keep kicking it and keep avoiding it, and hoping that it'll just get better, and hoping that God would do some miraculous way thing and just, it's all better now. No, I'm going to have to walk through this valley, and I'm going to have to face some fears of mine, right? I'm gonna have to face some fears of mine in order for me to grow. In order for me to grow. And in those moments where you may be in a valley moment now, in my belief, we have to be reminded that we can fear no evil because of God. His rod and his staff comforts me, comforts me. So it's a moment where through God, even though I am so uncomfortable, I can be comfortable in God's presence. That's how I face the valley. That's how I face the valley, family. That's how I would encourage you to face the valley in that way. Because the valley moments are there for a reason. They're part of your story. They are part of your story. The valley moments are there for a reason. It's part of your purpose. It's preparing you, it's equipping you, it is strengthening you for the next climb. For the next climb. It is strengthening you for the next climb, preparing, equipping you. And I know for me, and again, maybe it's just me, but I got a feeling it's others that can relate to this. Is that maybe the reason why I haven't got to the area of my life where I have feel or how can I say this? Maybe the reason why I haven't got to that particular thing that I felt like I should have arrived. I should have arrived by now in my life, right? Maybe that's a job for you. Maybe that's marriage. Maybe that's, a certain lifestyle. Maybe that's a certain, I don't know, income, right? Whatever the case may be. Maybe you thought by now you would have had that. Maybe the reason why I haven't received that because I haven't had moments to just embrace the valley. Because there are certain things that only grows in the valley. There's certain vegetation that only grow in valleys. They don't grow on mountaintops. They grow in the valley. And maybe there's certain things that I simply haven't had the training and I'm not fully prepared for because I haven't taken the time to walk through, not run, not skip, not glide, not even crawl, but simply walk through the valley. That takes a different type of intentionality. That takes a different type of focus and awareness and stillness to walk, to walk. So embrace the valley moments, family, because you was called for this. Yeah, you were called for this moment because all it is just preparing you for the next climb, for the next mountaintop experience. And then guess what? You'll go through it another valley. God continue to mold you, shape you, prepare you to bear more fruit, to bear more fruit, the pruning, to bear more fruit. So let's go quickly over these 7 steps to finish what you start. Number 1, know your commitment capacity. Number 2, stay committed to the process. Number 3, set measurements. Number 4, step out of your comfort zone. Number 5, learn how to pause and reflect. Number 6, create a support system. And number 7, embrace the valley moments. Family, it's been an honor. It's been a pleasure to provide to you these 7 steps to finish what you start 2023. And again, I believe that, you know, this will resonate with someone, maybe not all 7, maybe it's one that resonate with you. And in the comments, let me know. Send me a DM or whatever the case may be. Send me an email, reach out to me, leave a comment of, which one of these 7 steps resonates with you the most. And I would love to hear your story. Would love to maybe even have you on the podcast and for you to talk about it. So family, happy holidays. Understand that you were called for this moment. Understand that you have all that you need right now. Yeah. Yeah. God is sustaining you. You have all that you need right now to keep going. Stay committed to the process because we got to finish what we start. We have to finish what we start because there's more that we need to start. You thought this was it? No. There's more. There's more starting lines that we got to get to. We got to finish this race first. Yeah, we got to finish this one first. Okay. Family, know that you were created for greatness. But no matter what life may bring you, even during those valley moments, love God, love yourself, love your neighbor. I'm your favorite neighbor, Jay Murray. Till next time, be blessed.